Hello, howdy, and welcome back to another garden prep. I'm Kathryn and I'm the Aerogarden Homesteader. I hope you are joining along with me on this. So today I wanted to get some seeds growing, or at least starting. I don't know if they'll actually grow, but I was going to do celery, some leek, onions. I got 4 different kinds of onions here. So I have some, I'm just going to do these in flats, and I have some dirt that's been pre-mixed from last year in the fall. So I'm going to start with that, and if I have to mix up more dirt, I will take you along for that. That's what's going in this tray. This tray, I was going to start in the little cells here, but I decided I wanted more than what I could get from the cells, because each tray does 36. So you might think, oh, that's a lot of seedlings, but I'm going to do them in these, because then I could seed more, and then I can just prick out what I want and put them into another container when they get a little bit bigger. So I don't know if you can see these. These are little 4-inch, I think they're the 4-inch ones. So I got 18 of these, and I know it sounds like it's a lot less, but I can put in a whole bunch of seeds in here and sort of spread them out, and I can get more growing than I could if I were to do it in this. Because if I do multiple seeds in this, it's a smaller cell, and there's going to be less root space. So these will not be used. But this is going to be for my peppers, and I've only got 2 right now. I need to get jalapenos, and I might get another, this is Anaheim. I might get like an ancho, I think, because I don't think I have ancho seeds. I didn't see them. So I'm going to do 4 varieties, so I'll just figure out how to divide 18 by 4 and do that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Probably don't need quite as many sweet peppers as the hot peppers, but we'll see. Okay, so what I need to do is make some space, open these up. I got these at the dollar store. I have no idea if it is possible to get these at the dollar store anymore, because, you know, stuff at the dollar store changes from year to year. I'm sure there's another place that they could be purchased at, but it's just a plain, flat, no holes or anything. Comes with a little humidity dome. These ones unfortunately got melted a little, so, but I do like the fact that each one has its own dome, so that if things come up at a different rate, then I can just unveil that. Unveil. What am I saying? I can just take the dome off and let those ones start growing without worrying about damping off or anything like that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to see. Boy, these gloves are a little awkward. I'm going to attempt to see if I can cut a corner off on 2 corners, just to make it easier to bottom water. Oh, that's one. That's a pretty massive hole, but let's see if I can do this a little bit better. Oh, look at that. If we saw back and forth, it's a little bit easier. Okay. So I should be able to bottom water. Bottom watering is important. These gloves are also awkward. Bottom watering is important. Not only do you not want to disturb your seeds, but when they're seedlings, they can be a little delicate. And you don't want to disturb those either. Oh, see, this one got a little melted too. I had these in a shed outside on the deck, and the deck kind of gets, the sun beats on it sometimes early morning. So they may have gotten a little sun damage. That's okay. They'll do what I need them to do. So let me get all of these open. I will probably speed through this. You really don't need to watch me cut a bunch of holes in pieces of plastic. Let me see if I can just do this with. I do have a little garden apron on. It's not the best garden apron, but it will do. And I am doing this on my kitchen table. I do not have an outdoor potting station set up right now. And you know what? Even if I did, it's kind of cold outside, number 1. Number 2, a lot of things are under snow. So there you go. Those holes are starting to look a little better. So it seems to be, you got to saw it a little bit, even though it's a sharp blade. This one might be a little on the old side, and it helps to turn. That way you're not just ripping at it. This one got caught. There we go. That one's done. I might do these corners here, because they're not melted. Okay. So I went through, and from the last video I had mentioned figuring out last frost dates and what needed to be planted. Well, I went through and I made my list of things I wanted to plant. which I just remembered I left some seeds in the fridge that need to get planted. So those will go in with the pepper plants, and hopefully that will even everything out. But I made my list. I went and consulted with the Farmer's Almanac website, and I think the page I showed you was just a generic page, but the page I linked, actually, if you can put your zip code in and it'll tell you when to plant things. Like, it's a lot more specific than the one I just showed you. The one I showed you was good enough for the information purposes I was, doing, but the other one was a little more specific. So it gave me my specifics for my area. Okay, let me get that retracted and put away. But I was able to go through my seeds, make a list, figure out what order things need to be planted in, and away we go. And onions, I did not know celery needed to be planted this early. But anyways, it was onions, celery, and my peppers have been notoriously slow at starting, so I wanted to get them going. Can you actually, there we go. That's the dirt I'm using. It's just a mix. This one's got perlite in it. I normally use vermiculite, but in this case, I didn't have vermiculite the last time we were there, so we got a perlite. This has already been dampened. I mean, it's been outside. There's a hole in the bucket. It's in like an old paint bucket, but it's got a hole in it, so water gets through. Okay. I might need to add a little bit more, but I kind of want to see how much dirt I'm working with here. How many of these I can comfortably fill up. The onions will probably not be moved to something until they are ready to go outside. They can kind of handle being crowded in there, and then you can just tease them apart. So, again, I will probably just speed through this. I'm kind of making a bit of a mess. Best if you do this like in a garage or a workspace or a potting shed or outside. I got some dirt on the floor. One thing I like to do, and I don't remember whose website, or not website, but whose YouTube channel I got this from. If I remember, I think it was Gary Pilnick. He's out in Maryland. If I remember, I'll link it. But he mentions pouring boiling water on your soil mix before using it. So I normally do that. This time I'm not, because I'm just using soil that's already wet. I don't want to wet it anymore. But pouring the boiling water on is a really good idea because it kills off the fungus that the fungus gnat's growing. So if you don't want to bring fungus gnats in your house, which I've noticed peat moss tends to be, I don't know if it's a fungus gnat attractor, if it just comes with them already in there, but boy, I get a lot of fungus gnats. I've already got some, so I kind of feel like there's not much I can do about that right now. So as soon as I get all these plants out of the house, I can deal with the fungus gnats. Because we normally manage to get rid of them over the summer. But then, we buy some discount plant in the fall and bring it in the house, thinking we can overwinter it and bring fungus gnats in the house. So basically we need to stop doing that. Basically we need a greenhouse. Oh, we have a greenhouse coming actually. We got a little one coming. So that'll be nice. And it'll be big for us, but kind of a small one. Get some of this dirt off the table. Okay. Much as I like doing things with gloves on, not. I'm going to do this by hand. Okay. So, what I need to do is figure out if I have any onion labels that I can just reuse. And I don't think I do. Okay. Okay, so I got labels. Label your things. Doesn't matter how well you think you'll remember it, these things get turned around and then all of a sudden you have no idea what you're growing. So, let me see if I can get some of these out. I got these from the dollar store too. I'm sure everywhere's got them. I've seen people use popsicle sticks. You can actually take a yogurt container and cut strips out of it, cut the bottom off and then cut strips out of it, and that will help too. Now I'm going to have to put these on the outside, not in the actual thing, because then when I put the lid on, it won't interfere. So, I will get these labeled up real quick. Okay. Have them labeled up. I am just using a grease marker. I know a lot of people like to call these China markers. I have no idea if that's offensive or not, but it's a grease marker. So, and I can just rub this off later and reuse these labels. So, but you know what? If I already had some labeled, it would have been nice to just do that. Okay, you know what? I'm going to stick them in here for now so we don't have problems. Boy. There we go. Leek, celery. So now these seeds are pretty small. I will probably put like the barest sprinkle of dirt on top of them, but I want you to kind of get the idea of how I'm doing this. So these are celery, and as I discovered while doing these in the Aerogarden, these are microscopic. So I don't know if you can see how small those really are, but I'm going to just sprinkle them on, and then like I said, I will probably pull some of these out later when they get a little bigger and put them in bigger pots. Okay, that's that one. So leek is a little bit bigger. Leek, I think, is basically the same as onions. So I'm going to do a decent amount. These are leeks from last year, and they did grow well in the Aerogarden, but I want to make sure they do pretty good. And they're kind of like onions. They got a pretty good, strong root, so they will do okay if I have to tease them apart. Celery, I'm not sure how well it'll do being teased apart. Okay, I got this Granix yellow onion. Where's that? That's right here. So at this point, the onions are all pretty much the same. I will just sprinkle them on like I did the leeks, and actually, I'm just going to do all of them. Let's see how many we get. Maybe I won't do all of them. Maybe I'll save some for the fall or something. Now I have heard you shouldn't be putting seeds back in the container after having them in your hand, and that is because you've got oils and stuff on your hands might be wet, you don't want to put that back into the seed packet. Oh, this one does not want to open. You see how well I like to listen now. Here, neat trick. So if you can get it started enough that you can get one of these into the corner, then you can just use it like a paper, like an envelope knife. This one's going to be difficult because I'm trying to show you guys what I'm doing. Boy. Nope, that one is other. Nope, there we go, there we go. So you just stick it in and just trim across. Okay, this is the Spanish one. I'm going to do about half. Get rid of my mess while I'm thinking about it. Okay, I got this red one. Hopefully this one will open better. Now, these seeds are really hard to see on this dark soil, but I'll just make it work. And then I've got these Walla Wallas. So all these onions are new to me. They are different varieties than I did last year. Do make sure that when you are doing onions, you check to see what, boy, there wasn't many in there, what area you're in. So onions come as long day, short day, and intermediate day. There's a chart somewhere for that. I try to see if I can find it, but well, we'll see. Basically, if you're above, it's not the 45th parallel, it's maybe it's 45th, but if you're above a certain parallel, your long day, and if you're below that parallel, your short day, and if you're right around that parallel, you can get away with either, or you can use an intermediate day. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of dirt on it, and then I will, these gloves are a little too big and slightly annoying, so I might just do it with my fingers. It's also kind of clumping up a little bit because it is wet. Wet, wet, wet. Okay. So get that spread out. I don't need to have them perfectly covered, but you would like to have a little bit on top. You want probably about like a quarter inch or less of dirt. The celery probably didn't even really need any, but I believe the the way to figure it out is it should be at least the depth of the seed thickness. So you saw how big those onion seeds were? Not very, so that's how deep I want them to be. Okay, there you go. One flat done. I will have to figure out how to get these on since I've got the tags in the way right now. But for now, that's not a problem. I might go out and get, I might be able to put them in sideways. That's how I did it last time. So now these will go downstairs under the grow lights, which I believe I showed you in the last update, but I will make sure I show you in the next update. So that means these might be out of order. So I do keep my empty seed packets until the year is done, the growing year, because then I will know what I planted. Because I just put like the smallest amount of writing on the tag. Okay, let's get these going. Also gotta go get those seeds out of the fridge. Okay, asparagus. I'm gonna give this a try. So I have some onions, I can plant these, or onions, I have some strawberries, so I can plant these behind the strawberries. I also have a fence there that I can trellis it up too, so that they won't be all saggy and droopy and doing weird things. So I will probably try to do 2 rows of each type of pepper. Probably should fill these up as I'm putting them in. Might have to go mix up more dirt, which means I will be able to bring you along with me. Because I really did want to show you that. Again, I'm leaving a little bit of space at the top, and these do have holes in the bottom so that I can bottom water. I'm going to turn the video off for now, clean up a little bit, I got dirt everywhere, and then I'm going to show you how I mix up my dirt. Welp, apparently I forgot to hit the record button, or maybe I hit the record button and then I unhit the record button, but I didn't show you how to make the dirt. So while you watch me plant these asparagus seeds, which didn't appear to get any bigger with the soaking, I will tell you what I did with the dirt. So, for the dirt, you can always just go and use a premix. You don't have to mix your own. But what I do is I mix about 4 to 5 parts of topsoil with about 4 to 5 parts of some sort of compost manure type thing, and I use about 1 part of perlite or vermiculite or something just to help keep it a little fluffy. So that just helps with compacting. And then I put in about 1 part of peat moss. Sometimes I'll put in 2 parts. It just kind of depends on what I have. I just adjust accordingly. But that's pretty much it. And then I will add, so this time I added a full kettle of boiling water. I think my kettle holds about 1 liter or 1 quart. Might hold a little bit more, but I just filled that up and dumped it on fresh from a boil. Then with my gloves, I just mixed everything up. So I do have some footage of me mixing it up, which I must have stopped recording when I did the switching everything around. And then I must have hit record when I thought I was done, and that's when I started recording me mixing up the dirt. So you can see me mixing up the dirt here. I just mix it up real good. If I have to put the lid on, give it a shake, I do that. Helps get stuff up from the bottom. Just do what you need to. That is pretty much that. So that is the asparagus seeds planted. That is how I mix it up. Unfortunately, I couldn't show you. I am sure I will have to mix up some dirt at some point so I can show you then. This is me mixing it all up. That was me putting in asparagus seeds, even though I told you I wouldn't show you that. Well, you got it as a bonus, so this is pretty much ready to go. I'm just waiting on the jalapeno seeds. Right now it doesn't really matter if they're under a grow light, but you really need to have them under a grow light the second they start popping up. Or you want them under a strong light. If you got a good strong light somewhere, that'll work. But hey, it's winter, and it's overcast where I am. It's almost perpetually overcast where I am, so I need grow lights of some sort. So there you go. Okay, back. Everything was filled, everything was mixed. The dirt has had a chance to cool down, which is important. We don't want to kill our seeds. So I will be only doing the Anaheims and the green peppers. I don't have jalapeno seeds right yet. And I don't know how important it is, but for the asparagus it does say to soak 24 to 48 hours. So what I'll do is I will soak these for at least 24 hours, and then I will just pop them in the same way I am doing for the peppers. So I think they require the same, slightly different depth. So peppers are 1/4 inch, but the asparagus are 1/2 inch. So I'll just put a little bit more dirt on top. So I will not show you these ones, but I will show you the rest of them, and I will just do the jalapeno when I get those, which will hopefully be in the next couple of days. So, got some labels going on. I will just have at it. So let me see. I might need to get more Anaheim peppers. I'm just going to kind of spread them around a little bit. I don't want them too close to the edge here. That one's just getting buried. There you go. And then I will just put a little bit of dirt on top. So that is all there is to it. Okay, I'm just going to put all of them in this one row that's labeled. And while I'm checking for seeds for jalapenos, I will see what other options there are. Because you know what? I might want to do something different. Alright, so those are done. Get a little bit of dirt on top, just kind of enough to cover, not too much. And I'm gently pushing down on the dirt. I'm not packing it, I'm just kind of lightly tapping it to get it in there. Alright, I'm going to do these sweet peppers. It's a bell. I don't know what color they're supposed to be because it just says they're green. I get a 3D printer now, finally, and I think I would like to print out some shorter tags that work with the humidity dome. Because there have been a couple of years where I put things in the garden and I had no clue what they were. It's like, yep, it's a tomato. So, definitely important to label things if you want to do seed saving. So that's important. You want to know what it came from. Like, what seed am I saving? This tray I will temporarily leave upstairs. These don't need light right away. So hopefully I can get my seeds shortly. I will probably give these a day, both trays. I'll give them about a day, and then I will put in some water at the bottom just to make sure they start hydrating upwards. This soil is definitely a lot more wet than this one. The new batch I mixed up is a little drier than the old batch. So, okay, so that is where we're at. See, sometimes I get like a bigger stick. It's not massive, but it's just a little bit bigger. Okay, well, I hope you found this video useful. I hope you are following along. That would just make me so happy. Leave a comment below if you're following along. Remember, I'm in Zone 7. Actually, I think the more important thing is my last estimated frost date is, I believe it was April 14th or April 12th. So, those are my stats for my growing area. Let me know what you're doing, what you're growing. If you're joining in, I would love to know. And I will post a link to last week's video so you can see how I came to some of these dates and seeds and all that. And hopefully I will see you next time on the Aerogarden Homestead.